All right, good evening, everyone. It is January the 20th, 2022, and this is MELS 602. And congratulations once again, you have got to the second one now. You got 601 out of the way, and you're right in the beginning to the middle of 602, and the rest of them are just going to fly by. It's always going to be challenging work. That's just the nature of the program, but it's going to get easier in the respect of what I told you in 601. If you had Dr. Church or Dr. Todd, is that the process is going to be a little bit easier. What I do with this, what I submit this, who wants this. Now, you're getting acclimated to a new course instructor. There's always some transition bumps there, just like getting acclimated to a new teacher in the classroom. Everybody does it a little different. Dr. Sanders, I've worked with her before. I love her to death. She is as sweet as they come and as intelligent as you'll find too. But she does things a little bit different. And I'm not sure what she's told you because I didn't, of course I didn't hang around for the first class, but she kind of leaves the evidence to me, so to speak, and that, just kind of lets me deal with the apto when she goes and does a lot of content stuff with you, a lot of good scenarios, case studies, a lot of good relevant examples. So I'm not sure, what she's told you, but whenever she tells you to turn it into me, just send it to me. And the process for me is the same. If you had me in 601, which I'm pretty sure everybody has, if you're watching the recording, there are a few people in the class names that I didn't recognize that I may not have had you in 601. So I'm going to kind of review the process, but reach out to the people on the screen and they'll kind of let you know how I do business. And that way you'll kind of get acclimated to my process. I do want to share, before we start talking, I do want to share my schedule. This is what I attached to the email that I sent you. I am doing one cohort of 601, one cohort of 602, and one cohort of 605. So in this schedule, Dr. Sanders' cohort, your cohort is in burnt orange. I don't know, somebody who's fancy with colors could probably call that something else. To me, this looks orange. I guess it could be yellow, but this is a darker orange, so I'm going to say burnt orange. So anyway, if it says 602, that's what I'm calling burnt orange. And that tells you the times that we will meet. Here's January the 20th. The next time will be February the 3rd. The next time will be February the 17th, March the 17th. And the Zoom link's the same for everything, March the 31st. And then the last 2 or 3 weeks, that's, as always, if you need to Zoom during that time, I'll be happy to arrange something. But if you want a Zoom, either individual Zoom or small group Zoom, this will kind of give you an indication of what I'm doing the other Thursdays in the semester. Of course, we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm always flexible with my lunch. I can even Zoom during the day if that's easier for you. But if you ever need to do a separate Zoom outside of this, I'm always there to coordinate that with you. I just need, a little bit of time so I can fit it into the schedule and of course fit it into your schedule as well. So you have that. And once again, this is the same Zoom link that we'll use. So I'm going to stop share. And now I want to hear from you all before we dig into the old actor. Let's hear from you. How is everybody doing? What questions do you have? What concerns do you have? How's everything going?
Hi, I'll go ahead and start.
Hey, Amanda.
Hi, we actually just had a COVID outbreak today. So we have a lot happening at our school, but overall we're okay. Haven't had many in my classroom, but kind of going. My question was for the walkthroughs. I'm still waiting on my admin to send me theirs, but when you research the one that you guys keep referring to, there's not like one that gives a better layout, and it kind of matches a little bit, but I guess I'm just confused of like what you guys are really looking for so that we have it.
That's a great question. You know, the one that's in the example, I think, is Marizona's 9, that checklist. If a checklist that you use is similar to that, and your district uses similar to that, it's okay. You know, and there again, it kind of goes back to the person you talk to. You know, Dr. Lamb, he's really high on Marizona's checklist, and he wants people to use that. You know, I'm flexible in the respect that if there's one that you're familiar with and that you use at your school, that your administrations use at your school, as long as it's valid and reliable, I'm good with it. And, you know, if it's asking the same questions, looking for the same things, well, you know, probably is valid and reliable. Now, I say that because a lot of you are, you know, like me, I was a teacher in Wilkes County Schools. I was an assistant principal in Wilkes County Schools. I was a principal in Wilkes County Schools at an elementary, middle, and high school level. So for 15 years, I was all about Wilkes County Schools. So if I was coming through the program at that time, knowing that, hey, I'm probably going to stay in this area for the remainder of my career, I think it's more beneficial for you at this point to learn your district's checklist. So if you become a principal where you're a teacher at now, then you know, it makes sense to me that, you know, you could be a principal in that same district. So if you're familiar with the checklist and get to using the checklist, the learning would be more valuable for you to use something that you're familiar with rather than it sitting out there, but you not take advantage of it. You know, I didn't leave Wilkes County Schools till I went into the central office, left for 5 years now. Alexander's, came right back to Wilkes County Schools. So you have that flexibility though. I think it would be beneficial for you to learn what's being done in your district and to use that, because I think that's a good learning tool for you if you move into administration in that area, but you're not tied to that. If you look at Marizona's 9 and that excites you and you can really wrap your head around that, then feel free to use that as well. So good question. Good question. And we'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll show that in a minute. Any other questions that you need? I've talked to you a few emails. I've already reviewed a couple of, I think task 1 for somebody, looking good, looking good. Anything else that's keeping you up at night? Tiffany, I see you unmuted. Hey.
Robert, that's fine. So I don't know. I think I'm the only one in Gifford County. Okay, for the state of North Carolina, we're going through this letters training. And this letters training, God bless me. It's like getting another master's degree.
Yeah.
And so it is. So I was trying to figure out the hours that I spend on my letters training that's required by the state of North Carolina and of course my county. Is there a way for me to sort of use it with my internship? But I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna get all of this done. And all of that research, I hadn't even started my letters. I'm still on medical leave. I'm doing good. Thank God.
Great, Tiffany. I'm glad to hear that. I was going to ask.
I'm doing great about that.
You look great.
Thank you. And I go back to work on the 31st. But it's just a lot. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do I get all of that done and still be able to tie it in? So I didn't know if there was a way to tie it in through the master program. If not a way, and I just figure it out, of course, but it's just a lot. The letters training is 2 year. It's another 2-year program. I don't know why North Carolina wants to do this to us right now in the middle of COVID. Yeah.
I hear you. Believe me, you know, we're doing the same thing in Wilkes County. We were one of the districts that actually were one of the pilot districts. So I understand we're having to talk people off the roof daily. So I get it, you know, and I'm just joking. I'm not trying to make light of anything. You know, fortunately, I haven't had to do that, but the ESL teachers that work under me certainly have to. And you know, and I've heard from them. To answer your question, though, there's a administrator's letters training, and then there's a teacher's letters training, and unfortunately cannot count those internship hours unless it was the administrative training, which, you know, and I'm sorry, I wish I could, I really do, but there's no way that that Gardner-Webb would accept that as internship hours. Now, however, if you hear Dr. Lamb say something different, because he's the kind of the gatekeeper on everything, then I will support that. But it is my understanding that it won't count for internship hours.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, Dr. Brooks.
If you help your principal or somebody in the district set up the training, maybe facilitate the sessions, then maybe you could count that, but just set it and doing the training yourself, I don't think that we could. But you know me, I'm always open to look at anything. I'll look at
Yes, sir.
anything. And if there's a way to find a yes, I'll try to find it, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tiffany. What else is keeping you up at night? Or has got a burning question in your mind? All right, well, you can stop me anytime to ask questions. My goal is to keep it relatively brief. I've only had a half a cup of coffee, so you guys are safe. I get jacked up on caffeine, so before I finish that cup of coffee, I'll try to finish the class so I won't start rambling like I'm doing now. But I wanted to, let's just kind of review the process since you're in 602. It's not really different than 601 as far as I'm concerned, but I want to go ahead and just say, just kind of review that. When you get your task ready and you're ready for me to look at it, email me anytime with any questions you got. My internship shell is the same place that it's always been. It's the one that's got my name in it, MELS Clinical Internship Bullis. You click on that and we'll follow the same process. The template and resources are here. I'm going to refer to this in a minute, and I already, talked to you a little bit or showed this to you when I was with Dr. Sanders, but the APTL template's here. The APTL helpful hints is here. I haven't posted my new schedule yet. I'll probably pull that up later, but anyway, you have it in the email. So you already have that. This recording will be, I'm going to make a spring. You guys are actually the first Thursday night cohort I've done. I've been meeting with all the course instructors, so I haven't done one yet, but I'll create a spring 2022 video library folder. And within the folder it'll be 601, 602, and 605. So all of the videos, this video and any video following will be there, just like always. When you get ready to review, you just click on the APTL task 1 and load it up here. We'll go through that review process. Any revisions to be done there, we'll get it in good shape there before we take a grade on it. And then I'll tell you to upload to the Dropbox or the evaluation Dropbox. And of course, you do it right here in the APTL evaluation Dropbox. For some reason, the APTL final evidence narrative is at the beginning. I don't know why they did that. Let me go ahead and move that down. I didn't recognize that until now. All right, so yeah, so it's now at the bottom. Yeah, Kaylee, what you got?
Is there any guidance as far as approximate dates for turning in each of the tasks for evaluation? I know in 601 there kind of was, and that was something I didn't see as much for this project.
Oh yeah, you guys asked the great questions, and no, there's not, and that is intentional. As you progress through the program, there's going to be a little less. I don't know if you're familiar with the gradual release of responsibility model. So Dr. Lamb calls it intentional abandonment, but there's going to be a little less direction as you go, just to give you the opportunity to, kind of live your own life and organize your own world. I've never been big on due dates, especially with the evidence and everything, just because you're not going to get those a lot. When you become an administrator, you just going to have to figure out, I need to get this done this, when, and there. So there's not really any due dates. I think the scale handbook may offer a few, but I don't do due dates. Dr. Sanders doesn't do due dates. I just want you to get it. you know, about halfway through the semester, about half of it done. You know, I do like to have all of it in before the last week, maybe the last 2 weeks, and that's for your advantage, because the longer you wait to submit it to the evaluator, a lot of people submit late, so you know, that's gonna put them behind, and you're going to be sitting waiting for them to evaluate while they've got a bunch to evaluate, so it could take longer to get that back. Remember, it's not just the APTL. You also have got work to do in your competency folio. The good news is you don't have to do a School of Ed dispositions. You don't have to do the competency analysis. For 602, this is a lighter than you had last time. 602, as far as my part goes, you just have to do the APTL, upload it in the DRF, update your competency folio, and turn in your internship hours. And we'll go over that in more detail later, but that's kind of where we're at right now. If you need due dates to be successful, email me and I'll give you an outline of what I think that you should have things turned in when. Last week working on task 1, this week working on task 1. You know, I will be finishing it up. You don't have as many tasks as you did with the ABSL, so that's good too. So like I said, if you need due dates and that's what helps you, that's what I'm here to do, is help you. You send me an email and I'll kind of give you a timeline of when you should have things done. Let's look in the templates and resources. We talked about the helpful hints and the evidence, the template, final evidence. I'll get it in a minute. The final evidence narrative template. I want to look at, let me stop share again and start share. I want to look at, that final evidence narrative. This is the template that's in your internship shell. This kind of gives the outline of what the APTL would look like. You know, instead of doing an action plan on student learning, you're doing an action plan on teacher empowerment and leadership. We talked about that in the first class. The cover page is the same as the cover page in 601. You just need to change the title, your name here. All of that pretty much stays the same. Abstract, that, you know, that's not necessary. Don't feel like you have to put an abstract in there. Some people do. At the time that this was first uploaded, that was kind of a trend. That is not necessary, so you do not have to worry about the abstract. Here it gives you, and you know, the school profile be the same school profile that you used in 601, so you don't have to create that. So you can see it's getting a little bit less hectic in the fact that you already got a cover page, you've already got a school profile done, so you don't have to recreate those, just use what you have. That school profile may change depending on the context of the evidence, but for 601 and 602, it's relatively stays the same. I mean, if things change, if you need to update some information, feel free to do that. But you basically, for the most part, you can use that. Still write your narrative in APA. You know, you still want to make sure that you cite your cites within the narrative, and then your references should match your citations within the narrative. You know, we had a conversation about figures, tables, graphs, charts. If you're going to put them within the narrative, you want to introduce them, you want to appropriately label them. For APA, APA for you guys has not changed. You can talk in first person active rather than third person passive. So you're kind of gotten used to APA, so that's a good thing too. You're not having to learn that. And this template gives you some, gives you some hints about, or some guidance about what you want to put and include there. I really don't like this template. I think it needs to be updated. This is things that Gardner Webb puts into my shell. And now it gives you an example of some of the narrative that somebody else has written. This isn't a copy and paste. This isn't for you to copy and paste and put in your narrative. It's just a kind of how somebody else may have done it or did do it. And then it goes on down to I don't know why instead of saying task 1 and task 2, they say part A and part B. So the main thing I wanted to show in this is a survey, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that you could do with your teachers. But here's that Maranzano's 9 high yield instructional strategy. So if you're looking for that, want to use that, this is an example of what you can use. And you in task 1, you're going to create or find the checklist that you want to use. And you're also going to create or find, and you can do that off the teacher working condition survey, a survey. So you're using two pieces of research tools. One's the checklist and one's a survey. And while you're doing that in task 1 is you're just kind of doing the research and creating it in task 1, and you'll use them in task 2. But you're seeing, okay, if I walk around the building, if research says there are best practices in a highly functioning school and a very efficient school, then there's some best practices that's evident in each of those schools, regardless of what the school. I should be able to walk through and see some of the same things occurring in one highly effective school and another highly effective school and another highly effective school. And this is what Maranzano has done. He said, okay, if your school's really rocking it, then these things should be present. So you, as an observer, go and walk around and observe those classrooms over a period of time. I think they recommend maybe 5 days. And you see if you see those things that the researchers are saying should be evident. So you're observing them, you're looking for them with your eyeballs, not talking to anybody, not pulling in anecdotal information, but just looking and observing. You do that with the checklist. Then you go and you talk to the teachers through a survey. You can survey them through interviews, or you could do a survey as notated here, and you get their perception on what's good is going on at the school. What is good? How do you feel? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel like you have shared decision making, so on and so forth? And the reason you're going to do that is you're going to see is what I saw, what I observed, matching up with the teacher's perception of what's going on. So you're going to compare those two pieces of information. Is what I go when I walk around the school, and you know as well as I do, are people talking the talk and walking the walk? Does the walk match the talk, and does the talk match the walk? And that's what you're doing in task 1 is you're creating some research tools to find that out. Now in task 2, you utilize those research tools. You go out and you do the checklist. You go out and you do the interviews and the surveys, and then you pull all that data in, and you and your team look at that data and identify some gaps and some needs that need to be addressed. If you go through and you're not seeing cooperative learning occurring, but then the teachers are talking about cooperative learning occurring, and in their perception it's happening, but you're not seeing it, that's something that needs to be addressed. Hey, Tara, what can I help you with?
So when you say the team, bring it back and the team looks at it, what team are you talking about? Are you talking about our PLC team? Or
Yeah. It is, and that is not as prevalent as in the ABSL, but I would suggest that you have a group look at it and you facilitate a conversation, have a look at that data. And it could be whoever you want. It could be the administrative team, the leadership team, presenting that to them at some point. Yeah. Great question. So that's basically what I wanted to show you in the template, and then it goes on and it talks about the other tasks involved. So I'm gonna leave this for right now. Okay. All right. We're gonna stop share. And what I want to focus in on as the thing that I really like is this helpful hints document. I think this would be, and you should be looking at actual helpful hints, evidence too. And this is kind of what we looked at the other night. And I just breezed through it just to kind of get you started on the APTL. But I think you'll find more value in this than you will that template. Certainly refer to it, look at it, and pull what you want out of it. But this goes into a little more detail, a little more user-friendly, I guess might be the best thing to say. Now once again, this is just guidance. Yours does not have to look like this. And that's why I hesitate showing these and referring to them, because I don't want to squelch your creativity. There's power in you creating your own narrative in your own document and making it your own, rather than just doing a cookie cutter version of what somebody else has done. So take this with a grain of salt. This is all guidance. There are some non-negotiables here that have to be addressed, and that's what we'll look at in the rubric. But you have the opportunity to create your own document. But here it talks about, the cover page and the school profile. And this is some of the non-negotiables. You do need to do research on building efficacy. These are your subheadings in your narrative. You got your cover page, you got your school profile, and then you got your literature review and bibliography. And these are the subheadings of that. You'll be doing each one is an individual paragraph or section all to its own. On building efficacy and empowerment, results-oriented professional development, recruitment, replacement, mentoring of school staff, approaches to and evaluation of school staff, teacher leadership and decision-making. Your decision-making, excuse me, your narrative needs to have these subheadings. And for each subheading, there needs to be a minimum of 3 references. So 15 total. Okay, any questions on that? Now, can it be from the same source? Yeah, but if it's addressing this topic, it needs to address the different topic. It can't be from the same source, but it does need to be specific to your subheading. Right, and Todd Whitaker, Linda Darling Hammond, Robert Malzano, there's just some things for you to do that. That's prompt 1. That's the first part. Just like you did research on professional learning communities, you got to do research on best practices. And that's the headings that you will research. And then this talks about the checklist and or the survey. Now, please note that, I mentioned survey and interviewing people. The survey and the interviews are optional. I think it makes for a more powerful document. I think you learn more by doing both of those, but you don't have to. It is optional, but I recommend that you do it just for your own sake, because you can learn more and it'll be more beneficial for your school for you to do that. And there's just such power in talking to people and looking to see what you see, and then talking to people and seeing if what you hear them saying is the same as what you're seeing. I think it's a great experience for you. So I recommend that you do it. If you don't do it, I'm not going to penalize you. Okay. I may ask you where the survey's at. You just remind me that you chose not to do that. You can pull your questions if you do the survey or interviews. Survey, interviews, same thing. You don't have to do a survey and an interview. They can be the same. The main thing is to gain the teacher's perception of empowerment and as leaders in the school. You can pull it from Teacher Working Condition Survey, South Carolina. If any of you from South Carolina, I can't remember. There's some information about that. So task 1 is just creating these. You don't use them or talk about using them yet. This is just creating them. Task 2, as I said, okay, task 1 is doing your research and then creating the tools or using the tools. Marizano's 9 or the one that your district does. You don't have to create it. You can use what's already there. Here's some information about Marizano's 9. They do say, it has to be researched, and no matter what you use, it has to be research-based, valid, and reliable. It does say you actually use this instrument, whether it is one already used by the district or one that you can find other sources of research. You have the option. You have the option of using your district or the one that we offer you. Okay, so that do not worry about that. And task 2 is you go out and utilize these tools. Do you do the checklist? You do the survey? You collect that data, and you're going to have to talk about how you collected that data, like you did in task 2 of the APSL. What was your criteria? How did you pull that data in? What did you do? How many rooms did you visit? What rooms did you visit? How many times did you visit? What group of teachers did you talk to? How did you sit down and talk with them? How did that information, was it a survey? Was it an interview? You know, how did you utilize that tool? Some people have even took members, and when I say their team, the people that they chose to help them, and they've gone and done the checklist, and then they've had some of their team members to go and do the checklist. That's delegation. That's leadership competency right there that you can satisfy and see if somebody else is seeing what you're seeing. So some have done that. You don't have to, it's just a suggestion. And then you talk about, within the context of what you researched on, what does it look like? What did the survey results of what information did you pull out on each of these subjects? And so you just talk about it and tell what you pulled out. What did you find? And task 2, prompt 2, is you graphically show what your narrative explained in as well. So you need to show your results, so the checklist, and tally it up, and what was the end result of that. And interview, if you did an interview, put some quotes, some relevant quotes that you pulled out from those interviews, put those in there and kind of categorize those interviews. And you may want to set up some key words. If the perception is that shared decision making is allowed at this school, then there's some keywords or phrases I should hear from people. So every time I hear that keyword or phrase, that's a tally mark. And if I hear the same keywords or the same phrases from people, if you talk to 5 different people about professional learning communities and all 5 talk about norms and protocols, then that school knows professional learning community as far as setting up norms and protocols. Those are some key words you heard from everybody. So you graphically and narratively explained what you found out and what the needs and gaps are that you identified, and then you show that. And that is task 1 and task 2. So I'll be happy to answer questions. I'm going to jump into the rubric real quick because this is what you're going to be judged on. And let me pull it up. Well, oh, I know where it's at. Now this is a little tricky. I may have to, it may jump between. Okay, are you looking at the scale handbook now in the rubric? Okay, all right. So let's look at Aptal task 1. Here are the same subheadings that you saw in helpful hints. And what this says is you develop a literature review with the bibliography. Now, you know, find out whoever you want to research them, as long as they're, you know, experts in the field. But you make sure that they are aligned with these subheadings. And then you talk about the checklist. If you use a checklist, you talk about what you researched, what you found out from it, how it should be utilized. If you're using one that's your district, then you want to give the background information on that in the narrative too. Because you want to, whether you use Marizano's 9 or your own, you want to talk about how it can be utilized to address these areas, how you intend to utilize it to address these areas as well. And same thing with the survey or your interview questions. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. Task 2. Okay, as I said, you need to make sure you describe the data collection strategies. What was the process you went by to identifying the gaps? Data collection could be utilized in your team, identifying the gaps between actual practice and best practices research. It could be through a collaborative conversation with a group of people. Is how that could be part of your data collection strategies, seeing if other people are seeing the same thing that you're seeing. Candidates, make sure that you cite anything that you use. Make sure that you do your citations, and it all should tie back into your literature, which ties back into these subheadings. So make sure that it's all connected. And then you talk about the analysis that you do on the results. And that's task 2, and that's the rubric for that. You know, of course, I'm talking the proficient column, accomplished. You know, if you want to shoot for that 4, which you guys did a great job in 601. There were a lot of 4s came out of this group. And that's impressive. Here's 4, and I'll help you work towards that if that's what you want. So any questions on task 1 or task 2? All right, so I went about 6 minutes over of what I wanted to, but now I'll stay here as long as you have any questions or you need anything whatsoever. Next time we get together, we'll talk about 3 and 4. And remember, if you have any questions about how to connect, when we connect, when we're going to talk, it's all here. So our next session will be February the 3rd, and we'll talk about ABSL 3 and 4. And then we'll, I probably won't review the internship shell. We might go into task stream just a little bit and kind of look through that. Make sure you're in good shape on task stream, but we'll go through it as many times as we need to. Hey, Meredith, what can I help you with?
I've got kind of a strange question.
Well, I'm kind of a
when
strange guy, so that should work out great for both of us.
When we start doing our survey and our walkthroughs and things, are we okay to give like the nitty gritty, what's really happening information, or do we have to make it pretty and look good?
I love that question. I love that question. All right, I'm going to tell you to answer that yourself. I'm going to tell you why. You ask me, I want to see the nitty gritty. I'm an eyeball to the eyeball, tell it like it is kind of guy. That gets me in a lot of trouble. Even in Gardner Webb, it gets me in a lot of trouble. But there is no sense in sugarcoating or painting over a crack in the wall when you need to put some spackling on it, sand it, and make it look good, and fix it rather than just cover it up. But you know, nobody knows the dynamics of your school and your leadership team like you do. If that's going to cause issues, you need to be comfortable with that, because this has happened with a candidate before. Well, actually, it's happened several times over the last 15, 16 years. But even 2 years ago, I had a candidate doing this, and I thought it was great stuff. As a principal, I would have loved for somebody to have told me this is what's going on. That principal didn't want to hear it, and it created a little bit of friction between that candidate and that principal. So you know kind of the best way to navigate that. My opinion is, you know what, if something smells, let's find out what's causing the stink and get rid of it. However, some people don't want to hear that, and and I'm not going to be blind to that and rose-colored glass it up, because it's the truth. So you decide that, but the value in it is that it could really help the school out, and it could really help the teachers out. However, this is a tough season to be doing this, because a lot of people, just for the very nature of the pandemic, people are tense, people are sensitive, people are really have a lot of needs. So it's you kind of got to put it within the context of when you're asking the question too. So it's a great question. I say tell it like it is, and just tell the principal, hey, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm seeing, just laying it to you. But nobody knows better what to do than you.
I'm less worried about the teacher side of it than the administrative side. It's been a very tense couple of days. I kind of showed out at a district meeting this afternoon about some things that are not right. But the school now, this 5th year is their 5th new principal. They've had a new principal every year. So these teachers, they don't know what to do. This person said to do this one said to do that. And our principal now, as long as it looks good, it's fine. That's not how I work.
And that's just the nature. That's fact. That's the nature of reality. So, like I said, you know best how to navigate that. I will back any way I can, but I'm about 5 times removed from the situation. So, you know,
So
just,
I can present it to the leadership team in the best way that it's gonna do that, but if I need to be real nitty gritty in what I'm writing up for me to know that I'm doing what I need to do, then I can balance it that way.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
good,
you.
Good point. Good point. And what you say here is safe, as always, you know. But I get what you're saying. Amanda, hey, I saw your hand up.
Sorry, I don't know if you can help with this about our textbook for Dr. Sanders. With discussion from my group from 601, some of us have the ebook and some of us have the actual book, and things aren't matching up of like the pages and things that are due. So I just didn't know if you had any insight or if anybody else had any insight of our reading assignments.
Amanda,
Wow,
I think I may be the only one having the issue because Tiffany got her book through Gardner Webb and hers looks the same. But I rented mine through Amazon. And I don't have like all those activities in my ebook from Amazon. So if
I
anybody
mine
rented,
through Amazon too, and I don't.
well, we
have
don't
all of
have,
that.
yeah, we don't have the activities. I was trying to read the reviews and figure out how to get them because it is the exact same book with the IBSN number and everything. And we don't have the activities that are coming up like later in the semester.
wow, that is crazy. You know, does Dr.
So-
Sanders know?
I asked her today, thinking maybe I ordered the wrong book. So she knows that there's an issue. We just kind of figured out in our small group that the paper copy is fine and the digital version that Tiffany, Tiffany, where'd you say you got it from? The Gardner Webb?
Yes, I got it from
Whatever.
Gardner Webb. And so I ordered the hardback, but Gardner Webb didn't have any more hardbacks. I said, well, just give me the ebook. I got to read. So they gave me the access to the ebook instead. And so mine came through Gardner Webb.
Yeah, it just seems to be the Kindle version through Amazon. And when you like preview the text on Amazon, the Kindle version looks different than the preview of the paperback, which I didn't realize before I bought it.
I wonder if they uploaded the wrong edition of the book. You know, that might be that might be the difference, is that it might be like, well, it's a 6th edition, but they present it as a 7th edition, so on and so forth. But I'll reach out to Dr. Sanders and let her know that this was part of our conversation tonight. So she's aware of that and can kind of look into it a little bit further and maybe give you a little bit of grace and, you know, and getting that matched up.
I did
Yeah,
notice that there were 2 ISBN numbers, but I checked both of those before I
and
bought
they
it,
match.
and it was the same exact thing.
Wow.
So I don't know if it's an Amazon issue. I was trying to kind of look into that and see what to do. But the text, I've read the chapters and looked at the chapter quizzes on Dr. Sanders' Blackboard, and they match up. And like like the information is correct. It's just that the Amazon Kindle version doesn't have those activity questions that we'll have to respond to later in the semester.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
So
Well, if
for
nothing
anybody
else,
that has,
maybe, hey, you guys share your activity questions with Brittany and Tara. Yeah, help each other out, you know.
Yeah. We can
yes,
send
that would be
pictures.
wonderful.
Yes, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, share the love, people, share the love. All right. Anything else that you guys need that I can help you with? Have I
Dr.
told
Bullis, I
you-
do
have-
have questions that's
Yeah.
going to be specific to my school, so I'll wait till everyone leaves.
Okay, good deal. Have I told you guys my zombie joke? Did I tell y'all my zombie joke? Okay, great. All right, so why do zombies not eat clowns? Because they taste funny. Is that not a good joke? Zombies don't eat clowns because they taste funny. Get it? Okay, all right. Well, thanks for laughing anyway. I think it's a great joke, but I get that look a lot. I've told that joke several times. I get a lot of the looks that I got from you. So maybe that joke's not as good as what I thought it was, but I like it. I get the look I got from Tara was the same look that my wife gave me. You know, like, we got better things to do for you to goof around, but you know, I'm sorry. It's the coffee. All right. So guys, you guys, yeah, it's a dad joke. I hear you, Sarah. I hear you. I hope and pray you guys stay safe and healthy. Anything you need, reach out to me and we'll do whatever we have to do to help you. I'm gonna hang out with Tara here for a little bit. I'm actually gonna stop recording. I probably should have stopped recording before I